Hi everybody, Ali Akbarian, your resident road safety expert from Mobility Engineering, back again with another Q&A. We're here in our world famous Outlander in our world famous Vehicle Assessment Centre in Hornsby, trial and assessment centre where you can come and trial any products, over 100 different solutions on display. We're here to give you a special little video on a situation that we've had a question on regarding short-statured people, but as I forgot about my pillow, and as I always say, hit the subscribe button that looks like this lovely guy down there somewhere, and help us get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Now let's get into the question. So the reason why I'm sitting in the driver's position here is today's question comes around airbags in vehicles for short-statured people. So the question basically says that we've become aware of some people of short stature being advised that they have to have the airbags in their car disengaged to make it safer for them to drive. And on other occasions, some people have expressed the opposite view, that they still need to have airbags because it's basically unsafe without the airbags. So they're not sure, and what do you do? And Mobility Engineering has been involved in this. We've done quite a few modifications for people of short stature, and so we've got quite a bit of information. Now, we've written a bit of a technical explanation, so I'll try and sort of go for that word for word so we don't get you too off the mark, and we'll give a little bit of an explanation with this vehicle here, hopefully demonstrating that. So the first thing is that there is actually no guidelines or published Australian regulations on this fact. There is nothing, no laws or anything that we can give you information to that says, hey, here's a guideline that says what you need to do to disengage airbags and not to disengage airbags. So this is something that's been created through industry, as well as via international standards, which we'll reference and explain below. There's actually an American standard guide that is quite a comprehensive guide, and we use a lot of the information from that. They've spent a lot of money and time and research developing that in the States, in the USA, and basically we have taken that information and sort of made it a bit more hybrid for Australia. But what do we do? So the first thing we always do is a trial and an assessment. What we need to do is, I'll get into the vehicle here, and what we will be doing is we will be assessing basically where they sit. Do they need to have a cushion in front of them, behind them, to bring them more forward to reach? Can they reach the pedals? And basically, what is their final seating position? If they can't reach the pedals, do we need to extend them? Do we need to bring the seat forward? So basically what you need to do is you need to configure the seat first, so the driver can actually access all the controls, right? And they can access them comfortably, so they may need modifications, they might need extensions to normally the pedals, and the seat will either be brought forward or have some kind of cushion or booster adaptation to bring you forward. Then once we've got that, then we go to the next step of taking measurements of how far we are away from this airbag. So based on the research, the risk zone for the driver and the driver airbag, so where there is basically a massive amount of danger, is the first 50 to 70 millimeters. So basically the first 5 to 7 centimeters is the area where there is a massive amount of danger, and we do not want our body to be within that zone and within that region. So if we do a measurement and we're finding that basically you are within that zone, you definitely need to be positioned further back. And if you can't be positioned further back because of the reach, then you do need to look at having your airbag disabled, right? And when we go to look at having the airbag disabled, we need to apply to the government, our local authority, and get permission first before we do that. Disabling the airbag should not ever be taken lightly. It's the very last measure that we should do. This is a very important safety feature and compliance feature of your vehicle. So this would be the absolute last option. So you've tested everything, you've tried other things, and that doesn't work. The driver of the vehicle, ideally, what they want to achieve is basically 254 millimeters, so around about 25 centimeters from the breastbone, so around about here, to there. So 25.4 centimeters, so 254 millimeters, let's just call it 25 centimeters. That's your ideal zone. You don't want to be any closer to that. You can be a little bit further if you reach. Further back is okay, but any closer than 254 millimeters is not recommended. So to make it clear so we don't get confused about the 50 to 70 and the 250, so let's just call it 70. In the first 70 mil, or the first 7 centimeters, it's extreme danger and you do not want anyone there, right? In the next amount of distance, up to 25 centimeters, you still don't want anyone there. It's still not recommended, but it's not as extreme, right? And then after 25 centimeters on, we're sort of in the safer zone, right? Further back the better, but we still need to be able to reach with the right amount of reach to be able to turn and use all the controls. All right, so that's basically how that works. And effectively, once that you've done all of your assessments, and if you're within that 254 millimeters or 25 centimeters, or within that 5 to 7 centimeters, which is the extreme zone, then that's when you'd get all of those details, all of those reports, along with a compliance engineer. You would submit those documents to your government and ask them for approval to disconnect the airbag. Some governments do it, have a process in place. Some have an individualized assessment, so you might have to make an application through even your local ministers and things like that. But basically, every single state has some kind of flexibility around this, and you need to just work with your local authority. Often also, just as a little bit of a heads up, when you are working with your local authority, it's very easy to sort of get upset and think, why aren't they helping me out? You know, I need this for my vehicle. You have to remember, when they make a decision for you, their decision affects the entire community. So if they're saying yes to you, they need to think about, who else do they need to say yes to, and who else is this going to affect? So that's why often they might come back to you with more clarifications, and there might be some backwards and forwards before you get to the right resolution. So if you go down that exemption path, you do need to work with the government in partnership to be in a position where you are the safest you possibly can be. So hopefully that helps. We'll put a link down below to the American studies that we found, and hopefully that helps with the short stature situation. Thanks very much for tuning in. I have my pillow still accessible, so hit the button that looks like this guy down there somewhere and help us get to that 1,000 subscribers, and we'll see you next time.